In this demo, we're going to see how easy it is to gather information about services on a computer and send that information to a CSV file for your boss. So this is just going to generally show you, okay, here's the power of PowerShell and how we can use it to make tasks easier for us to do. So let's get to our demo. So let's say your boss wants to know what services are currently running on a system. He wants it in a report that's in a comma-separated value or CSV format so that he can then open that in Microsoft Excel to work with the data. So let's see what happens when we try to work with that through the GUI, and then we'll take a look at it with PowerShell. So I'm going to go to the Start menu. We'll go into Administrative Tools, and we'll go down to Services. We'll open up our services. So that shows our services here, and it shows all of our running and stopped. And notice the status is blank for stopped services. So we see, oh, there's all of our stopped services. So how do we go about getting that into a format that we can use? So let's try right-clicking here. It says Export to List. So let's try that. We'll export that to a list, and we'll just call this services1.csv. Choose a comma-separated value format. Click Save. We'll go down to the C drive where we save that under Scripts, Services1. Okay. That does not look like the information that we want. It's got a whole bunch of information, and it's really not telling us what we're looking for. So I can tell you without looking here anymore, there's really no way to really export this from the services. So let's take a look at PowerShell. So I'm going to open up my PowerShell console here. I'm going to use a commandlet called get-service, and that will show us all of the services. And if we go up here to the top real quick, we see that it shows us the status, the name, and then the display name. So if I go back down to the bottom here, we'll do a clear screen to go to the top. What if I want to take a look at the services that are stopped? So what I can do is I can use a command called where-object that allows me to basically put in a condition, some logic in there. So I want it to get me the services that are stopped, where the status is stopped. So I'm going to type in status dot dash EQ, which means equals stopped. So if we hit enter, we see now it's given us a list of all of the stop services. So next what we're going to do is we want to send this actually to a CSV file. So I'm going to do an export-CSV. I'm going to put in a path for that file. Go to the scripts directory. We'll call this services2.csv. And then I can use I can type in Notepad here and put in the path to that file, which is an easy way for me to launch files that I've created through PowerShell without actually having to grab my mouse and going in there. So notice, okay, now this looks a little bit more useful. It shows me the top, the second row here. This is going to be the row with all of basically the properties. And this is a lot of information and might be more information than my boss wants. Basically, all my boss wants is he simply wants to know the status, and he wants the name and the display name. So what I can do is I'm just going to do an up arrow here and go back up to my command here and get rid of the export. And then I'm going to do a select-object. And this allows me to put in the names of the properties that I want. So in this case, I want status, and then I also want name, and then I want display name. And then I'm going to put that back into the export-csv, C scripts / services3.csv. Go to Notepad, services3.csv. Oh, I forgot to put the path to this. So we'll put C scripts services3.csv. Now we see we have a much better list. And then there you can give that to your boss. So there you see, that's the power of PowerShell. You see that we were able to, by going through a number of different commands, get different pieces of information. And imagine if you had to do this for 100 servers. What you could do is you could take the code that you have here and you could put it into a nice little script and use some logic and have that run against multiple computers. So really what I wanted to show you here was really the power of PowerShell. I don't want you to be bogged into what are these different commandlets I was using, what are those different, all of that stuff that I typed in. We're going to be covering much of this information and more throughout the course. I simply wanted to show you, hey, here's some of the cool things that we can do with PowerShell.